What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to break down one of my favorite ways to use the hi-hats. It involves stomping on the pedal and then playing a double stroke immediately after said stomp. This mechanic allows drummers to play what sounds like a really fast triple stroke without actually playing a triple stroke, since it's really just stomp, double stroke. The core pattern is pretty much what I just said. It's stomp, right, right, but rhythmically we can think of it as 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and, stomp right, right, stomp right, right, stomp right, right, stomp right, right. And for the sake of talking about this stuff, everything's going to be analyzed in terms of 8th notes and 16th notes, but of course everything could be compressed into 16th and 32nd notes. In order to get a nice crispy stomp sound, make sure that the tilt screw underneath your bottom hi-hat is properly adjusted. The bottom hi-hat should sit at a bit of an angle, so then when the top hi-hat comes down on top of it, all of the air gets forced out. If your bottom hi-hat is flat and the top hi-hat is also flat, you end up just trapping an air pocket in there, and you don't really get any sound at all. And when you stomp on that pedal, step on it like you mean it. You want the foot stroke to be very articulate. Most of the time when I use this mechanic, it functions as an embellishment to a groove, so let's also add a snare drum hit to fill that last 16th note space, so the entire pattern will become step, right, right, left. Next, let's put this pattern into context. Since we're mostly thinking in terms of 8th notes and 16th notes, I'm going to demonstrate everything in the setting of a halftime groove. So I'll play steady 8th notes on my hi-hats, but I'm going to play the snare drum, or the backbeat, only on beat 3. First, we'll place this stomp right, right, left pattern in beat 4, so it's just a nice embellishment tacked onto the end of the measure. Altogether, it sounds like this. Next, we'll move that pattern so it begins on the and of beat 3, so just after the backbeat. And we'll also add a bass drum hit on the and of beat 4, just makes things feel a little bit more rounded out and resolute. We could also play this pattern beginning on the and of beat 1, so occurring before the backbeat, and that would sound like this. When you're comfortable playing the pattern in all those different positions, the next step would be to mix and match. So how about we have the pattern beginning on the and of beat 1 as well as on beat 4. Or we could have the pattern begin on the and of beat 1 as well as the and of beat 3. Then you could take each of those one-measure combinations and put them together to get a two-measure combination, and who doesn't love combining combinations? Because when you combine combinations, you just get combinations. I really like saying combinations, 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 combinations. That two-measure phrase is going to sound like this. So those are a few different ways to use this pattern in a 16th note setting or a 32nd note setting, depending on your interpretation. But we could also adjust this pattern a little bit to make it accommodate triplets. Instead of playing stomp right, right, left, evenly spaced as 16th notes, we're gonna adjust the spacing a little bit to get more this triplet vibe. So now the underlying mechanic is really stomp right, left as triplets, but we're going to play a double stroke on that middle triplet partial, so it'll sound more like stomp right, right, left, stomp right, right, left, stomp right, right, left, stomp right, right, left. To demonstrate, I'll apply this pattern to a halftime shuffle feel, so hitting the snare drum still only on beat 3, and I'll drop this pattern into beat 4, and that'll sound like this. Or we could use this pattern in beat 2. And instead of having the snare drum as the last part of the pattern, we could use the bass drum instead, and this way it'll behave a little bit more nicely leading into the backbeat. Or if you're feeling real fancy, you could begin this pattern on beat 3 and then play a blushda or a flam drag in beat 4. If you're unfamiliar with that sticking, I usually play them as left flam, so right hand grace note, left hand primary stroke, and then a drag, right, right, left, where the right hand stays on the hi-hats and the left hand stays on the snare drum. Now, to demonstrate that, we'll use this in a 2-measure phrase, and we'll have all the cool stuff happen in beats 3 and 4 of the second measure. And that'll sound like this. Of course, the triplet interpretation of this mechanic pulls us away a little bit from the full-on triple stroke feel, since there is a tiny bit of space between our hi-hat step and the 2 strokes immediately after, but it sounds cool, and it's built off of the same types of movements, so it was absolutely worth mentioning. I highly encourage you to explore other ways to apply this mechanic. We really want to begin to treat our left foot as if it were another hand. And I feel like so many drummers underutilize their hi-hat foot, and I don't want you to be one of them. If you like what you saw in this video, check out my Patreon page. Your support grants you access to transcriptions for this video, as well as transcriptions for all my other lesson videos. And follow me on Instagram @DrumMerhar to see more videos of my playing. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.